The total value of the contract, $450 million before you even take into account incentives. You look at the next three guys in line, Ryan Wilson and Garoppolo combined don't make $450 million. That's the degree to which he has completely reset the market. Do you believe that Patrick Mahomes winds up playing the entirety of this contract, winds up playing the entirety of his career in Kansas City? Mahomes right now in Kansas City seems to be as good a marriage as we have in sports or as we've seen in sports in a long time. But do you believe when all is said and done, he finishes his career as a Chief?
Look, Greeny, I realize that it's really hard to project out a decade and how things change. Look, nobody really anticipated any of the guys like Tom Brady or even Joe Montana or those kind of guys ending up with another team. That said, look, he's in a situation now in Kansas City where he has the head coach who has gotten him to this point, and that head coach has said that he's willing to coach into his early 70s in Andy Reid. You've got that element. You've got a structure in place in Kansas City that seems to be planning to build around him for the next decade. This is not like Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. That is much different relationship when it comes to sort of this guy who is sort of the superior over his soldier in the sense of Belichick over Brady. This is much more like Sean Payton and Drew Brees, who have managed to stick together for 14 years and have a kind of a camaraderie between them that doesn't exist anywhere else. I do believe that we will see Patrick Mahomes extend the life of this contract and continue his career with the Kansas City Chiefs.
What do you think, Greg?
I don't think so. At this point, I'm not willing to say anyone's a lifer anymore. I really don't. You can tell me that Andy Reid's going to be there 10 years from now. I hope he is. I hope he's coaching. I'm sure he will be without question. Yeah. But when you look at it, who thought Tom Brady would finish his career in Tampa Bay? Who thought Joe Montana would finish his career in Kansas City? Who thought Brett Favre, who signed a lifetime contract with the Green Bay Packers, would finish his career both in Minnesota at their biggest rival and for a year with the New York Jets as well. So I just am never going to assume guys are going to spend their career in only one place. Peyton Manning, Aaron Rodgers, Phillip Rivers, the list goes on and on. Aaron Rodgers, of course, still a Packer, but for how long? Knowing that Jordan Love is waiting in the wings. So I'm just not willing to say, regardless of the length of the contract, that a guy's going to be there forever. If he does, I'd be surprised. But knowing the circumstances surrounding our game and the game we love so much, it's just so unlikely.
It's extraordinarily rare. So I guess the question, Marcus, then becomes this.
All right.
In the time...
Gee, let me answer...
Go ahead, answer the first one. Go ahead.
Let me answer your question.
Yeah.
Your question is the lifetime of the contract. Yes, he will finish the lifetime of the contract. Not the career, the lifetime of the contract. He'll be in Kansas City for the duration of this, and he'll see whatever after taxes that $503 million is. Now, as far as the career, we don't know. But you look, this is to me one of the Eli Manning situations. Eli became synonymous with the Giants. His play declined, and they still didn't want to get rid of him because of what he meant to that franchise. Patrick Mahomes, to me, is in that same vein. 24 years old, a 10-year contract, which I would have advised against. Don't get me wrong, but 10 years from now, we'll see Patrick Mahomes still with the Kansas City Chiefs.
Worth reminding everyone, it's actually a 10-year extension. He's committed for 12 years right now. Very quickly, I have 60 seconds for you, Jeff, on something that I think people should be paying attention to. The contract is somewhat team-friendly. Chris Jones, who might be the second most important player on the Chiefs, is talking about holding out. We got a franchise tag situation. What is the latest with the defensive tackle in Kansas City, who's such a huge part of that team?
Greeny, I got to tell you, I have never anticipated Patrick Mahomes' contract would be tied to what happens with Chris Jones. Toward the end of last season, I sensed a very clear dissension between Chris Jones and the organization, especially when it came to the injury that he was trying to play through. For all along, he never liked the idea of playing under a franchise tag. I would anticipate this gets ugly because I don't think the Chiefs also are ready to pay Jones long-term money. If he wants to stay in Kansas City, I think he'll have to play under the tag, prove his value, and then maybe sign a long-term deal. I do not think that this gets cleaned up anytime soon.
So it might get ugly. Marcus got 15 seconds. If he's not there this year for whatever reason, do they still win the Super Bowl?
Yes, they can still win the Super Bowl because of Patrick Mahomes, but he will be sorely missed. Don't get it twisted. Chris Jones is a top 5, if not top 3 D tackle in the NFL right now. So it ain't as simple as saying we'll replace that guy. He's in the Aaron Donald, Fletcher Cox when it comes to productivity for the Kansas City Chiefs. Quit playing and pay the man the money, Kansas City.
Their defense was sneaky good the second half of last season, too. Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.